Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's lesson, I'd like to move on to revising the dama'ir, the pronouns. But prior to doing that, I'd just like to finish off last lesson. We spent a bit of time. I've been covering the fa'il, the fa'ala table, the various word forms, the verb forms, and then the different ways it can come. And I've just spent a bit of time on it because I really want the sisters to really familiarize themselves thoroughly with these tables and practice on them, have lots of practice, and then know exactly all the different verb forms and the way they come, whether they're masculine or feminine, whether they're singular, dual, plural, etc. So this is the reason why I spent quite a bit of time on it. So just to sum up all the main points that we learned about the tables, and we had the ma'ruf table where the doer was known, and we had the majhul table. There was two different tables. Majhul table where the doer was unknown, so it was the maf'ul was the person who it was done upon is known, but the actual doer is unknown, so we called it the majhul. It's called the majhul table. And then also there was four tables, so where the doer was known, it was like, so for example, we had fa'ala, fa'alu. As you can remember, I'll just go back to that page. Like we had fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alata, fa'alana. As you can see, the whole complete list. And this was like when an action took place, positivity of an action taking place. And this table is known as the musbat table. If you cast your mind back to that table. And the other table we did was the ma fa'ala. So ma fa'ala, ma fa'ala, ma fa'alu, ma fa'alat, and so on and so forth. As you can remember, I'll just get the book here and just summarizing all the points that I mentioned in the previous lessons. Ma fa'ala, ma fa'ala, ma fa'alu, ma fa'alat, ma fa'alata, ma fa'alana. And then it just continues on like that. So when we have a ma in front of the word, it negates the action occurring. So if it was a he did, it becomes he didn't do. Those two didn't do. They all didn't do, in following the order of the verb form. So we covered that, and so going back onto the page we're at now, the ma'ruf, for example, nasara, raka'a, kataba, sajada, fa'ala. This is the verb form. It would appear as so. So it'd be in the fa'ala state. It'd be all of the letters would be as so. And then in the majhul state, what would happen is the first letter would have a dhamma, and the second to last letter would have a kasra. So you can see nasara has become nusira, raka'a has become ruki'a, kataba has become kutiba, sajada has become sujida, fa'ala, fu'ila, as so. So this is the difference, the different changes in the haraka when it becomes from ma'ruf to a majhul tables. The fa'ala becomes a fu'ila. So another verb, there's different verb forms. So we looked at the fa'ala going to the fu'ila, but there's also a different verb form. I just wanted to explain. Ifta'ala. Ifta'ala would go to uftu'ila. So this would be, ifta'ala would be the ma'ruf form, and uftu'ila would be the majhul form. So the doer is known and the doer is not unknown. So you might be wondering, what is the difference between fa'ala and ifta'ala? The difference is, the difference in the verb forms is, like if I use this example, istama'a, and I'll use this other example, iktasala. So istama'a means he listened, and this refers to listening attentively. The actual verb, the three-letter verb, is sami'a, and sami'a means to hear. And when we refer to hearing, it refers to hearing in general. when we refer to the ifta'ala verb, it's more specific. So istama'a is he listened, meaning he listened attentively, listening attentively. So it's more specific, not just hearing as in something, you know, to hear something, to listen to something, but listening in a more attentive manner. So this is what this refers to. Istama'a means he listened in an attentive manner, and whereas the sami'a would be just to hear in general. So again, if we look at the ifta'ala, where if we look at the fa'ala, so for example, the 3-letter verb, so ghasala means to wash. If we put that onto the verb form of ifta'ala, we get igtasala, which means he showered. It's more specific. So when we're looking at, like, for example, it might be he showered, he bathed, things like that. So it's more specific. So ghasala becomes igtasala, and then samia becomes istama'a. And this is using the verb form ifta'ala, fa'ala to ifta'ala. Now, this is when it is in the doer is known. But if the doer is unknown, it'll be how fa'ala would become fu'ila in the examples what we've done before, like nasara became nusira. So here we'd have ifta'ala would become uftu'ila. So we do have ightasala. What would ightasala be? Like we did some examples. Iktasala. What would happen to iktasala if we use the verb uftu'ila to transform it into the majhul state? It become ugtusila. If you can see it there. Don't know if it's clear. No, it's not. I think I've just tried to zoom and it's just gone a bit blurred. So we'll keep it here just as so. So it becomes ugtusila. So that's a gain there, ugtusila. So yeah, if you can see, I've just drawn it in, ugtusila. Just made it a bit, use my black pen to make it a bit more clearer. I think the blue writing for some reason is not coming up as clear. So ugtusila means he was showered, as in it occurred, he was showered. So a person was showered, but who did the showering, we don't know. I know the sentences, they might not make that much sense, but again, this was an exercise we were practicing, just learning the verbs, applying the verb formats. So transforming the iktasala to the uktisila, and this was the purpose of the exercise. It wasn't so much that the words would make sense. So it was referring to the maf'ul. We know that he was done upon, so he was showered, but who actually did the showering for him? So it might have been like a young child, but we don't know who did the showering, for example. Just giving a quick example there. So again, if we have the word istama'a would become ustumi'a. So it would be like he was listened. So he was listened to, but who did the listening, we don't know. So this is why these are known as majhul. So the majhul, it becomes from the state ifta'ala to uftu'ila, just as the way in the fa'ala table, using the verb form, we have fa'ala going to fu'ila. I hope this was of some help. So inshallah, I will stop the video here, and I will make the next video on the pronouns, so that it doesn't continue on for too long and sisters start getting a bit fatigued and bored. So if the sisters just continue on learning, writing out all these terms, and then familiarizing themselves with all the different types of verbs and the way the verbs come and the different formats, inshallah, then it will be of a lot of help when we move on to more complex verbs and things in the future, inshallah. So happy learning, and see you soon in my next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.